Hey everybody, it's Zach from Myshire Farm. How are you? Hopefully somebody could let me know real quick if you can hear me. If you can, then we will get started. So I will wait for just a second. Don't want to repeat myself if I don't have to. But if you can hear me, I would appreciate it if somebody just lets me know real quick while I get set up here. Hear you good. Okay, wonderful. All right, so we are actually going old school tonight. Usually I have a board behind me that has some topics and some information. We do a couple different things, but tonight I'm going to try a couple things differently. But this is our live Q&A. So what we do is every Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we go live. Where you can ask questions, and and I try to help you on your journey with Coturnix quail. But tonight we're going to be doing a couple things a little differently. So number one, I'm actually going to stop all questions at 7:45. So at 7:45, I'm going to type in the comments stop, and that is all the questions that I'm going to answer. And at 7:45, I'll finish whatever I didn't, and then right after that, we're going to go into 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. The reason why I do not have it on the board is because I'm actually going to be going in depth on certain videos, so I didn't want to give a lot of stuff away, but at 7:45, I'll finish up the questions that had been asked. And then we will go into 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. And then after that, I will answer any questions you might have about those. So that is the plan for tonight. Now, if you are new, we try to have some fun while we do live Q&A. So if you want to let us know where you're from, I always do a shout out from there. And also, if you had a hatch rate this week, feel free to let us know what that hatch rate is. And we will discuss it. I will write it down and put it on our records. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate it. Remember, if you can hit that like button and support our channel, I would greatly appreciate it. I will say that throughout. The whiteboard will be back next week, I promise. But this week there was a couple things that I did not want to put on there. Yes. So we'll be stopping questions at 7:45. I will answer anything before that. And then after that is done, we'll go into the 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. So if you have a question, ask it now. I promise I will get to it. And here we go. So Rose Cold Rake Heather says hello from Northeast Ohio. Hello. Retail Homestead from Huntsville, Texas. Welcome. Jeff says hi y'all from Louisiana. Alina, I hope I said that correctly, says hi Zach, greetings from windy Northeast Ohio. It has been extremely windy here in Ohio this week, absolutely. Kasumi Rose is in the house, welcome. Brett says chillin' in Jefferson, South Dakota, welcome. Verna's in the house, she's our moderator for tonight. Juanita Field says hello Verna. Not Django says, hey there from Idaho. Just put 47 assorted rare quail eggs into lockdown yesterday. That is great. Best of luck. And keep us posted on that. Junie says, hello everyone from Chester, Virginia. Kasumi Rose is not talking to me. Juanita Field says, hello from Wisconsin. Packers rule and Jaguars drool. All right. Erie Quail Farm says hello all from Stuart, Florida. Welcome. Patrick Foltz says, hey everyone from Foltz Family Game Birds in Sparta, Missouri. Welcome. I love the name. We will be doing some more moderators in the future. Right now I'm going to toy with some things and try some things out. And then once that is done, we will start getting busy. But the goal is to have everything set up by January 1st. Robert from Minnesota is in the house. Welcome. Alan Malone's in the house. Kasoon, not talking to me. Alan Malone is giving away, I believe, 100 hatching eggs for someone that's in the UK tonight that has any questions. So if you're from the UK, when you ask your question, make sure from UK on there, and then he will pick a winner at the end of the night. Bill Adkins is from Northern California. Welcome. Jane from New York says hello. Heather Cole. Heather and Charlotte's Crazy Critters from Vermont says, hello, everyone. I believe that Heather will be on Katernik's Corner this coming up Tuesday, so you want to check that out. I was on Katernik's Corner this past Tuesday, and I think we had a pretty good time and a lot of great answers, or great questions. I don't know about the answers. Kasumi Rose says, Western Tennessee is in the house. Your 25 pansy eggs went into lockdown yesterday. Can't wait for the results. Absolutely. Keep us posted for sure. Ron says, hi from the Philippines. Welcome. I'm going to say Rhubarb789. I don't know if that's correct. I hope it is. Hello. David Gilmore says hello from Idaho Falls, Idaho. Marie is in the house and says hello. Ilka Bong, I hope I said that correctly. Out of my golden mix, I got 2 pharaohs, 2 recessive whites, and a silver. Is that normal? Depending on how many you ordered, getting 2 recessive whites is kind of odd. Silver, maybe. Pharaohs, sure. But close, depending on how many. Lucky 13 Quail says, very busy tonight. Can't watch the whole thing now, but will later. Thank you for the video, Zach, and I got the eggs you sent on lockdown. Next Sunday, I hope to have a great hatch to report. Absolutely. Keep us posted. Verna says, thumbs up, everybody. I'm going to take a quick break and let you know, in case you missed it and just joined, we are doing things differently tonight. So at 7:45, I will be stopping the questions. I'll answer whatever is before 7:45, so if you have a question, feel free to ask now. I will get to it. Once we're done with that, I'm going to go into the 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program and answer any questions that you might have. I will be doing a couple YouTube videos on it down the road. I'm hoping to have them done before January. I still have a couple more all about the color videos to do as well. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like button for me. I'd love to get to at least 100 likes before I start the 5 tips and tricks, but I'm not going to hold you to that tonight. So if you can support the channel and hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Love and Life at Home says, hi, Zach and all from Washington, welcome. Don Cook says hello from Oklahoma, welcome. Tanya Muddy Farm 75 says hi from Southern Indiana, welcome. Taco Promotions, good evening from South Florida, God bless. Thanks for joining. Lucky 13 Quail is in Southeast Kansas, welcome. David Gilmore says smart to stop questions at 7:45. We're still going to probably go long just because I want to do the 5 tips and tricks, and I wanted it all to be in one area. So that's kind of what we're trying to do tonight. Typically, I have a whiteboard behind me, and once we hit 25 likes, I'll answer the first tip and trick, then 50, then 75, and so on and so forth. But if you're watching this later, or you need to go back to it to hear it again or whatever, it's really hard. So I'm trying this tonight, and then I will get your guys' feedback to see if that was better. But again, if you could support the channel and hit that like button, I would greatly appreciate it. Matthew Whittle says hello from Kentucky. Welcome. Bill Atkins says 50 of your Italians in lockdown yesterday. We'll try to be patient. Absolutely. Best of luck. Hopefully you'll be able to join us next week and let us know how the hatch rate went. Angela Metcalf says, how many roos per hen? I recommend 5 hens to every roo. I do a little less because I ship so many all over the country, I'm froze up on my iPad. But yeah, I recommend 5 to 1. You're still going to get a good hatch rate, and your hens will look really good. Your males will have plenty of things to do. Annette says hello from Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I got it this week, absolutely. Salvador Perez says hello, everybody. From Florida, just put the eggs I got from y'all in the incubator this week. That's great. Best of luck to you and keep us posted. Again, if you're new, if you want to let us know where you're from, we always have a lot of fun doing the shout outs. Also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I will be stopping questions at 7:45 because we will be going into 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program, plus a couple bonuses if we get to the likes. What the Quail Farm says hello from Pearland, Texas. Welcome. Junie says, with your eggs being so large, do you have issues with prolapse or egg bound? No, not really. I mean, yeah, not really. It's not that we haven't had it. It's just not really a problem. Very rare. But we make sure that we have a high calcium and a high fiber to help produce the egg and help the egg stay healthy. So as long as you have that and you're breeding them correctly and you're growing them out the way you should, then no, there's really not that many issues. But very good question. Kiki says hello everyone from Houston, Texas. Welcome. Angela Metcalf says, what are your favorite quail treats? We usually do cucumbers. You can pretty much give them anything. They're pretty easy to appease, except for no citrus. Angela Metcalf is in Washington. Welcome. Rhoda Lynn says hello from California. Eggs arrived in incubator. Thank you. Absolutely. Keep us posted on that. Taco Promotion says, is it intelligent to put a napkin in the incubator if it's plastic when you're quail hatching, or is it not necessary? It's not necessary. If you need to increase humidity, I would recommend putting a wet washcloth in there or a little Tupperware bowl with a piece of foam in there. That would do the trick. YRB says, LOL, I had to put my roux in timeout this week, 2 hours in penalty box, calmed him down. That's good. I'm glad that worked. Mark Johnson says, howdy, Cove, Texas. Welcome. Angela says, what's the lowest and highest temperature can a quail survive? You know, they are very adaptable. Very. I mean, we ship quite a bit to Alaska and we ship quite a bit to Texas and everywhere in between. So, I mean, it can get, 120 degrees outside and they're fine. They can get to -30 and they're fine. They're very adaptable, so I really wouldn't worry about that too much. Just make sure wherever you are that they can get out of the elements if need so. Roy says, hello, Zach from Colton, California. Welcome. Taco Promotion says, let us know about the availability of jumbos. Absolutely. I will let you know now. I am super behind this week, but other than whites and live quail, everything will be going back on the website tonight. My incubators are 100% full. I'm actually using our lockdown to try to incubate some because we have some massive custom hatches, couldn't think of the word, going on. So I have nothing I can put in right now. So I will be putting everything back on the website. I am about 5 days behind on Jumbo Wilds. Everything else is pretty caught up. 5 or 6 days on everything, really. Almost everything. So I'll be putting everything back on the website, including Jumbo Wilds, Jumbo White Wings, and Jumbo Egyptians tonight, as soon as the video is over. So, again, don't want to bore you, but at 7:45 I'll be closing off the comments. And I will answer whatever questions have been done, respond to all the comments, and then we will be going into 5 tips and tricks. I do have 5, plus I have 3 bonuses that are kind of small, but kind of something that you should probably think about. So when we get to 100 likes, I will make sure that I include the bonuses in the 5 tips and tricks. But I need you to hit that like button because that supports our channel and makes me feel better about myself. Let's see. Jerry Alexander says, between Two Rivers Quail Farm in the house, Washington State. Welcome. Love the name. Lucas Concrete. I hope I said that correctly. 30 Scarlet Tucks, 30 Silver, 56 made it to lockdown, 4 were cracked, 43 hatched, so 43 out of 50, 43 out of 56. This was my first time hatching in an incubator, and I'm very happy with myself from Michigan, as you should be. That is an amazing hatch rate. I will write that down now. Let's see, 20 Tucks and 25 SSC. And you had 43 out of 50 hatch. That is wonderful. Congratulations, Lucas. Ron says, hi. Can you deliver fertile eggs in the Philippines? Not yet, but it is coming. Kasumi Rose says, hi, Zach. Are you still needing another moderator? I will. We will be working on that in the next few weeks. I'm going to be trying some things out first. Katernik's Corners in the house from Florida. Welcome. Jim says, hi from Ojai, California. Welcome. Thank you for helping me pronounce that. I appreciate it. Angela Metcalf says, what are signs of an unhealthy and stressed quail? Acting strange, not really being around the others, not laying, not producing. It's acting weird in some sort. What the Quail Farm says, hatched 48 out of 110 jumbo wilds. Not bad since Devil Cat unplugged incubator for at least one day. Don't consider for your average, please. I am going to write it down, but I will write a note that there was some issues. Still not too bad for the incubator being off for an entire day, so that's pretty good. So congratulations to that. I wrote that down. I did write in the notes as well. Remember, when we get to 100 likes, I've got some bonus answers for you about the 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program, so you will want to hit that like button for me. Ned says, when will your live birds be available for shipping again? Thank you. 4 weeks, 5 weeks, somewhere around there. Somewhere around there. It's still ways out. Homestead on Main Street says hello from cold, windy northern Indiana. Welcome. Also a moderator tonight. Oops. Holly Judd says, hey. Holly from South Carolina. Question. What was it like owning your first quail? Were you a kid or an adult? Tell me more. I was not a kid. It was, I don't know, 10 years ago maybe. We purchased quail because we wanted to become a little bit more self-sufficient in an easier way, and we wanted to learn more about them. And almost everything I do, I try to do as a learning experience. So I go into it thinking, well, this might not end well, but I'll be better for it down the road. So it's been a journey. The whole thing's been a fun journey. Beth Reed says hi from North Central Arkansas. Welcome. John says hello from North Carolina. Welcome. Chris Daly says hello from Tampa, Florida. Ron is in the Philippines. Welcome. Angela says, what predators like quail? Quail are at pretty much the bottom of the food chain. So anything, raccoons, rats, snakes, anything that could get them will want to get them. Let's see. Rhubarb is in Toronto, Canada. Welcome. I hope I'm saying that correctly. YRB says, oh yes. Grand Terrace, California here, San Bernardino County. Welcome. Glad you could join us. Bill Atkins says, Zach, when you start to hatch your own eggs, how long do you collect your eggs before putting them in an incubator, say 10 to 15 breeders? Thanks. I wait 7 days. I collect for 7 days if I'm doing anything for us. I would never wait more than 2 days to ship out. But for us, 7 days. Up until day 8, it really does not affect fertility at all, like at all. And really, day 8, you're talking a 5% drop. So it's really not that much. Don Cook says, hi, Zach. Had a strange egg from one of my Italian hens this week, weighed a whopping 3 grams. Thought it was a fluke, but got another tonight that's smaller, 18% layer feed with 3.5% calcium. I would let it ride, maybe throw, check your fiber. I think it should be around 1.5%, but check the fiber and then maybe throw some electrolytes in there about once every 2 weeks. But it should be fine. Matthew Whittle says, how high percentage protein would you be comfortable feeding as a starter? I have found a 38%, just worried that could be too much. I personally think that that's too much. I tell you what, I'm going to write down my thought. When we get to 100 likes, I'm going to go into that because that's a very good question. But a lot of people, I think, would benefit from this. Without even knowing it. So hit the like button. When we get to 100 likes, I'm going to go into 38%. But yes, I do think 38% is a little too high. I recommend 25 to 30% for starter grower, and then 15 to 18% for your layers. But I want to explain all of that why, but I want to hit 100 likes first. So I'm going to leave myself a note, 38% protein. And it kind of goes into the breeding program, which is really nice. So hit that like button. I think I might be able to help you out with something you might not even know you might need help with. Lucas says, I also noticed of the 28 silvers and 28 scarlet tuxedos, the tucks started hatching 10 to 20 hours sooner and way more tucks hatched than silvers. Do you know why this is? Overall, very pleased. If I had to guess, it's probably depending on where they were put. You might have maybe a temperature difference between where the scarlet tuxes were and the SSCs were, but it's hard to say, really. Angela Metcalf says, what percentage of calcium do you feed your laying quail? Well, we're getting a lot of feed questions. I will answer all of that when we hit 100 likes, so hit that like button and support the channel. Plus, I will give you extra information. Calcium, I recommend 3.5% for layers. Stacy Taffer says, hey quail peeps from Chesterfield, Virginia, welcome. Carrie says, hello all from Cassville, Missouri. Yeah, I think that's Missouri. 25 Sparklies went into lockdown this morning. It sounds like we are going to have a huge week next week with hatch rate, so I hope everybody has a great hatch rate. I'm going to kill this fly. Jessica Pate is in the house from southern Indiana. A lot of Indiana hens, I don't know, are here tonight. I don't know what it's called. Angela Metcalf says, what is the percentage of protein do you feed your laying hens? 15 to 18%. Matthew Simpson says, question, hi Zach. I know day length affects egg laying. Does it affect meat growth as well? Yes, it can. So typically in the winter, typically they'll mature a little bit slower, which will also affect the weight. Billy Bell says, are Italian and Manchurian different? Yes, but not by much, not a lot. Not talking. What the Quail Farm says, defied odds and had 5 Egyptians in Jumbo Wild group of 110. Wow, that is nuts. I am going to write that down just to look at some things. That's weird. Let's see. Jason says, hi from Pennsylvania. Welcome. Beth Reed says, question, I switched from a standard 18% layer to a 22% layer. Fiber and calcium are the same, but I've been having prolapse and soft shells. Nutrition, or yeah, it would be a calcium issue. I would go back down to the 18% if I were you, or you can increase your calcium by either eggshells or oyster shells or something like that. But I would increase the calcium or lower the protein for sure. Dennis Workman's in the house from Southwest Florida checking in. Welcome. Remember, when we get to 100 likes, I'm going to go into the protein and why I recommend what I recommend and what we purposefully do here that might be different from other places. So hit that like button. I think you're really going to be interested in it. Remember, at 7:45, I'll be stopping the questions, so ask your question now. I will finish up the questions, and then we are going to have a discussion about the top 5 tips and tricks that I came up with this week for a breeding program, and you will be able to ask questions along the way as far as that goes. So hit that like button. You're really going to want to know about this. Holly Judd says, hey, could you make a family tree of all the colors you have created own? I think it'd be really neat to see them all in order and what breed with what. Hearing the names confuses me, being so new at it. Well, we do have a playlist on our YouTube channel, Myshire Farm. It's all about the colors, and it goes in depth, video by video, on each color, what it looks like, how to sex them, and all the information. That would help a lot. Also, we have a video on our YouTube channel that I don't know where it's at, but it is a slideshow all about the colors that I should probably find and put in all about the colors. If you can't find it, it is on our Facebook page, Myshire Farm. It's in the pinned post, but it's a slideshow, and it's a picture of each quail, not updated, but most of the quail we have with the name on it. That might help also. We only need 7 more likes. As someone just said, I didn't see who it was. So hit that like, 5 more likes, and we are going to go into something we do as far as a breeding program and why we feed what we feed. So make sure you hit that like button. I need 5 more likes. Remember, at 7:45, we will start transitioning over to a top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. CC Dickey says, I love the Schofield Silver. Is there another collection like this in jumbo? There is not. Collections never will breed true, or should never breed true, for a couple different reasons. So they never should be considered jumbos. You can get them to weight, but you really shouldn't be breeding them true. So that's kind of a catch-22 there. Alan Benware says, from Malone, New York, does the meat taste better when they are young, or is it better letting them get a little older? They taste about the same. Once they're about a year to a year and a half old, they get a little tougher, but not a lot. But no, they pretty much taste the same no matter what. Alan says, oh, nope, Mike Terry says, hello from Belleville, Ontario. Just hatched 20 baby quail out of 22. That's great, congratulations. Junie says, question, my yolks have been very light in color, or I have not had any yolks. Is this a feed or an age issue? Hens are a year and a half, males are a year. I don't know what your feed is. It could also be a feed issue. Sometimes there's more than just one issue. But yeah, you're going to start seeing issues with that. I recommend you switching out your males once every 6 months, so twice a year, and we switch out our hens once a year. So they're getting pretty old. I would assume that your egg production is getting pretty low as well. And if your males are a year old, your fertility is probably dropping as well. We need 5 more likes, everybody, for a surprise answer. So hit that like button. Let's see. Have you tried using kill cones for slaughtering your birds? Thoughts on them? Yes. When we butcher, we do use cones. Absolutely. I don't know how else I guess there's other ways, but I don't know. Yeah, we've always used them. Good question. Matthew says, I have some jumbo Pharaoh roosters with slight speckles on top of breast and others with a ring around the neck. Any ideas, West Virginia? I have some jumbo Pharaoh roosters with slight speckles at top of breast and others with a ring around the neck. I don't know, but I would not recommend using them for a breeding program. If you're just looking for eggs, then yeah, use them. But if you've got different males, I would get them out of your breeding program and get that gene away. Oh, I thought I killed it. We need 2 more likes, everybody. Lucas says, one potential problem I see with stopping questions at 7:45 is then we can't ask questions about the topics you were talking about. Yes, you can. You can ask questions about the breeding program and what I am discussing. I will still answer those. But I do get it. 3-hour live streams are not in the least bit ideal. Absolutely. Patrick Fold says, from a breeding standpoint, would it be bad to hold 50 quail in 12 square feet? 36, ooh, that's a lot. I wouldn't recommend it. You're going to have some aggression, some territory issues, and your hens are going to get beat up pretty fast. Chris Daly says, one girl has laid her first 5. All 5 are circular in shape, almost perfect balls. Kind of cool looking. Do you think she will always lay? Yes, she will most likely always lay those. We did get to 100, so I will stop for a second and answer that. Somebody asked earlier, did they think that 38% protein is too high? Now, here's the thing. We do not breed for a one-time generation. And we do not breed just for butchering. We breed for a lot of different reasons. It's multi-purpose. So 38% might be okay if you're just raising a one-time deal to butcher. Sure, makes sense. Not bad. But if you're breeding, the problem is okay, here's the best way I can explain it. If you have any questions, ask. But I can't guarantee it. I'm fairly certain I could get a 17-ounce jumbo within 9 months, like an average of 17 ounces. Pretty certain that I could do that. However, I'm not just looking at the weight, which we are going to talk about in the breeding program. I'm also looking at longevity. I'm also looking at healthy. So if you've been to our website, you know, our little slogan is we guarantee all live birds arrive happy and healthy, right? Well, if you're just zoned in on the weight, now if you're only breeding them to butcher, then it's not a big deal. But if you're going to reproduce those, you want to make sure that they don't grow too fast, too slow. Everything needs to be just right. So there needs to be, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? There needs to be a standard all the way up. It just doesn't need to go straight up, you know? So yeah, the reason I say 38% is too high is because they're growing at an abnormal rate, which will affect your breeding program down the road. So just keep that in mind, and not just about the feed, but keep that in mind about all things. And we are going to discuss it in depth about my top 5 tips and tricks. In fact, it goes extremely well with that. But that's why I would recommend, that's why I recommend what I recommend as far as the 5-to-1 ratio, male to hen. That's why I recommend 3 to 3.5 quail per square foot. That's why I recommend a 25 to 30% protein for starter grower, and then switching over to a 15 to 18% protein because you need to increase the calcium and the fiber. Also, you know, once they get 10, 12 weeks old, that protein really starts turning into a lot of unhealthiness. If it's really, you know, if you keep it on a 30% protein their entire life. And the goal is not to just get them as big as possible. The goal is to keep breeding and to keep getting them a consistent, nice size. That should be the goal, not let me find a 20-ounce jumbo or a, you know, whatever. Which is why I'm very comfortable with the 14. I'm going to get them to about 14.5 to 15, but I want to go very slowly so that I don't have to do certain things in the breeding program. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Chris Daly says, one girl is later. Oh, no, I already answered that. Dennis says, do you feel dry hatch around 30% okay, or better trying to keep around 4? You know, I've never dry hatched, so I am not good at that answer. I apologize. If someone has dry hatched, if you could help them out. Also, I would highly recommend you go to our Facebook group, our Facebook group, Newbie Quail Lovers. And there's over like 15,000 members. I'm sure a ton of them dry hatch. You can get a lot of information on that as well. So that's Facebook, Newbie Quail Lovers. Matthew Simpson says, do you sell quail manure, and how do you market it? If so, do you compost it as well? We do not. We might down the road, but we're not. That's a whole different business, and I'm as busy as can be already. So we do not. Kathy French is in the house from Ohio. Welcome. Matthew says, what do you use to sanitize the incubators? Half Listerine, half water. is what we do to clean them. Kiki says Lysol is great. All right. Erie Quail Farm says, when you give cucumber or watermelon, how do you cut it up? We've used watermelon in the past. We don't really use it that often. Typically, we'll cut a cucumber in half and then break it in half from there and then put it throughout the cage so they're not all going after one little thing. John B says, question, lighting. What is the best light source for growing and laying? I read full spectrum lighting is best. That is true. Is there really a difference between full spectrum, warm, soft, blue, red, grow lights? There's really not. Yeah, we use daylight for the longest time. No, as long as they're getting the proper amount of light, it's not really that big of a deal. Angela says, what is the most aggressive quail color or breed do you have? None, really. I mean, you'll get those jerks every once in a while, but there's not a breed that's overly aggressive. Ron says, how can you hatch true quails? Well, that's a very hard question, but you probably will get answers with the top 5 tips and tricks that I will be talking about as far as the breeding program goes, so I'll wait on that. Hello, Zach. Mike from Dawsonville, Georgia. Welcome. Let's see. Myshire Farm. I hope I said that correctly. Question. I didn't know you were doing a live, so I also sent an email for a beginner as myself. Would it be possible to ship a mixed batch of all feather sexable types? Yes, on our website we do have a feather sexable mix, which comes with the feather sexable colors. Hit that like button, I'd appreciate it. Angela says, have you ever had a double Yolker hatch? Yes, like twice. Not very often. Kiki says, Zach, the Myshire Farm can have a set of my eggs. There you go. Alan Malone says, don't forget, guys and girls, if you are from the UK, put UK after your question. I'll be giving away 100 hatching eggs for the best question. Remember that. Angela Metcalf says, what incubator to use? We use, we build our own incubators. Jackson says, hatch date for my gold eggs purchased from you will be hatching later this week. 50 out of 60 will be going into lockdown Wednesday. That is great. Best of luck and keep us posted. Shipped all the way to the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's great. I wish you the best, and I hope you get a great hatch. Keep me posted, though. Alan Malone says, Zach, with having such a big operation running at Myshire Farm, how do you keep track of everything? Manage time. You got to manage your time. Lost Nation Quail Farm says, good evening, everyone from Vermont. Welcome. Kasumi Rose says, do you need another moderator? We will be working on moderators in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to try a couple things out for the next couple of weeks to find out what I like and what works best for everybody, and then we will start making plans from there. Ron says, like the video, guys. I would appreciate it if you hit that like button. Angela says, has anybody here used the Nutri-Right 360 incubator? I would also recommend going to Facebook, joining the group Newbie Quail Lovers, asking on there. I'm sure you will get a lot of people to help. Jane says, sex-linked hatch 28 out of 28, all but 3 males. Wow, all but 3 males. Oh, wait. Oh, that's not. That's awful. I'm great hatch rate. I mean, I'm gonna take it. All but 3 males. Wow, I'm sorry. Wish I knew how to fix that. Angela says, I'm so excited. I love your video, Zach. Thank you very much. Forgot a drink again. That's a bummer. Terry McCrane is in the house. Says, hi, Zach. Got my eggs yesterday. Put them in the incubator today. Awesome. Keep us posted. Angela says, what's the giveaway this time? I'm not doing a giveaway this week for a couple different reasons, but got to take care of some things first. Carlos says, Zach, thank you for all you do. Got my eggs back in March and am doing great. More eggs than I can handle with only 2 dozen hens. Learned everything I know from you. Thanks. That is wonderful. Thank you for the compliment. and I wish you the best of luck. Sandra B says, hi from Connecticut. I had a problem with my egg turner and wondered how bad it will alter hatch. I didn't notice for maybe 2 days, and it was in beginning of incubation. It shouldn't affect it at all. I would make sure that you either fix it or hand turn, but if it's at the beginning, you might be okay. What temp do you keep a still air incubator? We do not use still air. I am not too sure. Somebody on here might be able to comment the answer, or you can visit our Facebook group, Newbie Quail Lovers, with over 15,000 members, and they will definitely be able to help you out on there. Again, the Facebook group is called Newbie Quail Lovers. Earl Nichols says hello from Luke and Earl in Sunbright. Welcome. Kiki says hit the like, guys. I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Not talking to me, not talking. Alan Malone, nope, not talking to me. Robin C says hello from Wyandotte, Wyandotte, Michigan. I think I said that right now. If I want jumbos to have in spring, when should I purchase the eggs to put in an incubator, have established breeders? I'm looking to have 2 roos and 10 hens. I would say no later than mid-December, spring. I'd say no later than mid-January is what I would say. Personally, I think November, December, January is perfect time to hatch out as many as you can. That's what I try. Earl Nichols says, hatching our first batch dealing with power outages. Any tips? Temperature drops 20 degrees. I would let them ride. I wouldn't open the incubator at all and keep it as consistent as possible. Good luck. Jackson says, I'm hoping to have a very genetically diverse flock. I'm planning to add as many varieties of Coturnix as possible. Are there any potential issues with allowing the types to cross freely? Well, that actually goes great into the top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. So it's not going to be a very popular answer, but it is a good answer in my opinion. So I'm not going to answer that yet. I'm going to wait until I do the top 5 tips and tricks because I got a whole spiel lined up. So stay tuned for that. But very, very good question. R&J Lawn Care LLC says, someone explained to me that I would get a better hatch rate if I handled my eggs with gloves on. Something to do with destructive oils on our fingers that will affect hatch rate. Is this true? No. I don't think so. It's not worth it. I can tell you that. The benefit would outweigh the pain of it, or the pain would outweigh the benefit of it. I don't believe that. Homestead on Main Street says, hit that like button. I would appreciate it. Thank you. Jen Lieferman, I hope I said that correctly, says, any advice on how you came up with your new shipping prices or how to set shipping prices? We do shipping prices from the post office website. We've got a corporate account, but we put in the zip code, and well, if it's on our website, then when you put it in, we have the USPS app, and it automatically pulls what the zip code is, or what the shipping would be. If it's an auction, then I go onto our corporate app and plug in the numbers, and it tells me. It goes by weight and zip code. Phyllis Wells is in the house from Texas. Welcome. Brian French says, from Northeast Ohio, your eggs are hatching now. We'll let you know next week how many have SSC, Jumbo Wild, Pearl, and Fab Fee, and Snowy. That is great. Best of luck to you. Lasagna Luther says, where can you find the actual new cage build for the new barn? I saw the discussion on the cage, but not showing how they were built. Can find on YouTube. We actually do not have that on YouTube, maybe down the road, but we do not have that right now. It's very, very similar to our old cages. In fact, it's pretty much identical to the old cages. We just left enough space to put the new poop system in. Chris Derry Rose Elrod says, hello from Arkansas, welcome. Holly says, do you think a 4x3, 12 feet area for the base triangular cage would be enough room for 6 quail? Yes, very much so. Just worried that the steep walls will create a smaller space. Yeah, even if it does, you're fine. Absolutely. Jerry Alexander says, what causes double yolks? Getting 3 or 4 a day, just started laying full stream. Hens are 3 months old. It's usually a genetic thing. Rebecca says, hi from Ohio. Welcome. Angela says, how many hens per square foot? Non-jumbos, I recommend 3.5 quail per square foot. Jumbos, I recommend 3 quail per square foot. How can you hatch true? We will go into that. Feathers and Greens Liang says 45 out of 60 feather sexable. That is wonderful. Congratulations. I'm actually going to put 41 out of 50 FS because that's what you would have ordered, but wonderful hatch rate. Congratulations. Oh, hold please. It is 7:45. So I am marking on here where we stopped with the questions. Now, what's going to happen is I'm going, oh dear, I lost my spot. That's a crapper. Oh, I'm not too far away. How about that? So what's going to happen is I'm going to answer these questions that are already done. Once that is done, I'm going to go into the top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. While I am talking, as long as you're asking about the top 5 tips and tricks for the breeding program or want more information, feel free to comment your questions. I will get to them. I want this to be beneficial and useful as well, but I do want to get to that and not make everybody wait an hour and a half before I can get to it. So here we go. Jesse Brown says, I wanted to create my own sex link someday, and I remember something about accuracy taking 3 generations. Is this correct? Will it work to use both my Pharaoh hens and the ones I hatch from Myshire? Well, you need Egyptians and Pharaohs to hatch true, which is why I recommend 3 generations. Because you need to make sure that those Egyptians are getting all the roux in the gene pool. But as long as your Egyptians and your Pharaohs are hatching true, then you could do it. I can't pronounce the name, but is it only light that affects egg productivity, or does temperatures also affect the egg production? Wonderful question. I am going to actually answer that in just a few minutes on our All About the Breeding topic, section, time, whatever. I will be getting into that, but yes, there is more than light that affects egg productivity, absolutely. R&J Lawn Care says, do you have to let quail poop sit before putting it in your garden, or can it be moved as possible? We don't move it right away. Well, I mean, we move it every day, but we don't put it on the garden for a while. We put it in our field. We let it compost for a while because it's so acidic. So we usually don't use it for about 6 months. But I don't know. That's just what we do. Ken says, hi from Maryland. Welcome. Not Django says, question, can you keep quail in a chicken tractor style cage, and what temperature can quail take high and low? I'm getting that question quite a bit recently. Yeah, they can go into a chicken tractor style cage. That's not a problem. Temperature, obviously it affects it a little bit, but they're very durable. They're very adaptable to the area. So, you know, when seasons change, they're going to lay off production and start back up because they have to adapt to it. But I really wouldn't worry about the temperature. Make sure that they can get out of the elements when they need to, whether it's too hot, too cold, rainy, snowy, whatever. But I really wouldn't worry about the temperature. Reed Lead says, hey, Zach, I just had my first quail hatch on day 15, and many others are moving and pipping. I think the early hatch is because when we let them set, they were at 75 degrees. When we let them sit, I'm not too sure. I'd like to know the final results. So hopefully you can join us next week and give me some more information. But I wouldn't think that that's what it was. You don't start incubating until they're 99 degrees, 98 maybe if you're unlucky or lucky, however you look at it. Feathers and Greens says, is 40 degrees nighttime temperature tolerable for 3-week-old quail? I wouldn't. It's a crapshoot. You're risking it. I would wait another week at least. A. Jones says, hi, Zach, checking in from the northeast tip of Ohio. Welcome, neighbor. Kiki says, I dry hatch, so you could always ask her. She's also on BYC. Erie Quail Farm says, question, you recommend 4 to 5 hens per rooster, but say that you don't stick to that rule for breeding? What ratio do you use? Very good question. I usually do, it varies on which color. Everything is not the same. I change everything per color, per jumbo, per everything. But typically, it's anywhere from 3.5 to 4 is what I usually do. Not super happy with it, but I think that's the best results for what I do. Danny Cohen says, what's the lowest height I can do when I build my cage for the jumbo quail? I wouldn't go any lower than 8 inches. No, wouldn't go any lower than 8. But that's my opinion. 1971 Biggle. I hope I said that correctly. When are some jumbo wilds going to be available again? Website shows out of stock. They will be on the website tonight after this video. So if you missed it, well, I'll recap everything in a minute right before I start. So stay tuned. What feeds do you use for your breeders? We actually have a couple videos about our feed on our YouTube channel. I would check those out. But we have a custom feed made for game birds and quail. Not talking to me. Carolyn C. says, good evening from Parkersburg, West Virginia. Do you recommend fodder or fermented feed? You could do either one. A lot of people really like the fermented feed. It is whatever is your choice. They are not as picky as what you would think. New Caro says, hi from Massachusetts. I managed to hatch double yolk. One baby absorbed both yolks. All right, there you go. R&J Lawn Care LLC says, do you guys tend to market towards a certain demographic or just focus on a mass blanket marketing strategy? Very good question. I have a specific target audience, but I have multiple audiences. Almost everything I do is on purpose for a reason. Luke's ZC21, I'm sorry. Hello from Tennessee, incubating Italians on day 14. We plan on leaving for a few days on the 5th. Any tips on leaving them alone for a few days? Ooh, scares me. Make sure they have plenty food and water. Plenty. Erie Quail Farm says, have you seen any way to successfully tell the sex of a bird by egg shape, or is that just malarkey? I like the name, or the word. No, that is, in your word, malarkey. You can't do that. I wish that was true. Bayo Hung says, how low the temperature can the quails handle? Wow, that's a repeat question quite a bit tonight. Quails are very, very adaptable. Don't worry about it. I promise. We have people in all over, negative 30 degrees, negative 50 degrees, 120 degrees, and they adapt. I wouldn't worry about it. Alan Malone says, did my first call today, only 10 roos, but it was an experience to say the least. One of them had a lot of what looked like fat in them. Is there a reason for this? Could be a feed thing. If it was just one of them, I'd say a fluke. Retail Homestead said, I had 58 hatched 3 days ago, and I started having deaths today, and as of right now, I have lost 8. They have water, food, and heat. They don't act cold, and I see them eating and drinking. I would recommend you going to our YouTube channel, Myshire Farm. Go to the top 5 reasons for chick fatality. Check that out. That should give you a couple different avenues to go down. Nope, not talking to me. We've got just a couple questions. I'm going to answer those real quick. Shay says, hi, Zach from Hampton, Tennessee. Welcome. Jay Joseph says, hello from the Caribbean. I'm a bit late, not a problem. David Gilmore says, I use 8-inch high cages and the quail do not jump up, so no neck injuries. There you go. Lee Family Homegrown says, hello. I'm new, still haven't gotten quail, just found your group and channel. Any tips where to start researching proper care, etc.? I do have some ideas. First and foremost, I would recommend going to our YouTube channel after this, Myshire Farm. Go to the playlist. There's a few playlists on there. The first playlist that I would recommend is I'm New to Quail, What I Need to Know. There's about 5 or 6 videos on there that I think is very beneficial. We also have a playlist on the hatching process. I would highly recommend checking that out before you start incubating eggs. We've got a couple blogs on our website, myshirefarm.com. And if you are on Facebook, I would join the Facebook group Newbie Quail Lovers. There's 15,000 members. It's a quite active group. I would ask questions on there or just see other people's posts and read the comments. A lot of people steer people in the right direction with personal experience, and it is proven to be a lot of great help with a lot of people. So now we're going to go into the top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. There's obviously a whole lot more that I could talk about, but I will not waste a ton of your time. But we're going to talk about that. Before I begin, make sure that you know all this. Number 1, hit the like button and support my channel because I obviously have very low self-esteem and it makes me feel better. Number 2, it supports the channel and that's always positive. And 3, because I asked? I don't know. All right, so hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Number 2, on our website tonight, myshirefarm.com, after this video is done, I will be putting back on the jumbo white wings, the jumbo wilds, the jumbo Egyptians, and anything else that says out of stock except for jumbo whites. I am making room for those. I have to get caught up with those and any live quail. Live quail will be a couple weeks before I can put any on. The jumbo whites will not be available for the rest of the year, but the jumbo wilds, jumbo white wings, jumbo Egyptians, they will all be back on the website tonight. I think that's all. The little things. So here we go. 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. Now, I did put stop on there. I need to find, so I don't lose my spot. So give me just a second here. Oops. Oh my. Why? There we go. Having some technical difficulties. Please be patient. I would appreciate it. Oh dear God. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I just put start. I'm going to answer the rest of the questions. There's only like 3 or 4. And then we are going to go into the top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. Now that I know where I'm at, we will go through. If you have questions on what I'm asking or what I'm discussing, or if you disagree or you want to discuss it, whatever, feel free to comment. I'm still going to answer your questions, but this will all be about the top 5 tips and tricks. Excellent. I joined excellent. I joined and very excited, but still have a lot of research before I take this on. Absolutely. I'm glad you're doing the research. Jay Joseph says, any update on international shipping to the Caribbean? To the Caribbean, Wednesday. I'm supposed to know about the Caribbean, the Philippines, and somewhere else. I forget. On Wednesday is what I'm supposed to know. New Caro says, poor guy doing great. LOL. Pat yourself on the back. Stop crying. Thanks. Do you ship live quail? We do, but we are out right now. Erie Quail Farm. Oh, not talking to me. Okay, so here we go. Top 5 tips and tricks. Hit that like button if you like what you hear, if it benefits you, if it helps you in any way, or if you find it entertaining for some unknown reason. A lot of people like to laugh at this face, so I mean, if that works, I don't care why I get the like button, just hit it. So here we go. Number 1, simple but important goal. You need to make sure you need to have goals in place. You need to know what you're doing before you start. A lot of people just wing it, and that is not long term. Okay? So if you're in this most likely, and I'm not speaking for you, I'm just, most likely you're not doing this for a one-time deal. You're most likely going to try to keep doing this to be more self-sufficient long-term, consistently, right? Well, keep that in mind. So are you starting a breeding program for consistency, laying, egg size, weight, breeding true, etc.? Why? Why are you wanting to do this? Now, a lot of people might just, I've got to get my drink, hold on. A lot of people might just want to breed just to keep getting hens. Well, in that case, just breed away. You don't need a great breeding program. It's not that huge. Make sure that, I really recommend that you don't have more than, or you don't have less than 2 cages. Let's say you hatch out 60, let's say you hatch out 60 quail from us and you get a 50 to the hatch. Yes, I am back on Mountain Dew. It's been a very long month, and I need caffeine, and I was starting to be a pain. So for everybody involved, it would be better for me to hurt myself than to keep acting like a jerk. It is what it is. So it's not that much though. So go, if you're breeding just to breed, just to have eggs, not a big deal. I recommend having at least 2 cages. Separate, so let's say you hatched out 50 quail from us or from anyone, right? Separate them. When you hatch them out again, put the males from this cage with the hens from this cage and keep going, right? Just make sure that brothers and sisters don't breed together. That's really all you have to do. Not that big of a deal. But if you want a breeding program, why? You have to ask yourself why. Are you breeding for breeding true? If you are, there's a lot of stuff you need to know first and think about. Are you breeding for egg size? Are you breeding for weight? Are you breeding for layers? Are you breeding for consistency? Why are you breeding? That would be my first tip and trick. Find out what you want to do. Okay? Number 2, on paper, on purpose. So once you have a goal, so let's say, so for example, I don't just breed, and we're going to get to this in a little bit, but I don't just breed for production. I don't just breed for weight or egg size or breeding true or color pattern or anything like that. I breed for all of it. So that means somebody said earlier that they have a few Pharaoh males that had a ring around the neck and was kind of hard to feather sex and had speckles on the top of the chest, but they're males. Okay, sure. Let's say that male is 18 ounces. Huge, huge quail, right? Healthy. Still would not put it in my breeding program because it does not hit all of my criteria. Because I'm not just breeding for weight. I'm not just breeding for egg size. Verna, they can go ahead and ask the questions. It's not a big deal. I will get to them. But I do want to cover all this. I'm breeding for everything. So I don't want that in my breeding program because, well, it's confusing, right? So keep that in mind. But you want to, the second tip and trick is on purpose, on paper, on purpose, okay? It is very hard for me, or it was very hard for me to keep writing everything down. Because at the time, it feels like a big waste, right? I've got better things to do. I've got to sell quail. I've got to respond to messages. I've got to do my emails. I've got to get stuff done. I got to feed. I got to water. I got to move chicks. I got to weigh. I gotta, right? I don't want to walk around and stare at quail and write all this stuff down and keep everything. However, that is the only way to have a breeding program. The only way. So I highly recommend you either have an iPad or a tablet, does not have to be connected to the internet, or you have old school, which I did for years and years and years, a clipboard with a piece of paper. And then I moved from the blank piece of paper to an Excel spreadsheet. And then I went from the Excel spreadsheet to a tablet. And then I went from the tablet to the iPad. Then I went the iPad to internet connection so I could just transfer everything over to the house. You want to write down hatch dates. You want to know how old your quail are. You want to know from where you got them. You want to know how many generations you've been doing. This is generation 2. This is generation 3. This is generation blah, 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 right? When they started laying, right? Weight, egg size, and probably one of the most important things that I track, weekly, monthly, and yearly production. If you don't know, where you started and where you ended the month, the week, the year, then how do you know if you're improving, right? So, time management, you gotta discipline. I know all this sounds super simple. I am gonna get to some really interesting things, but I'm telling you, simple is best, right? Number 3, be specific but broad, okay? So what I mean by that is weight or egg size should not be the only measure tested for jumbos, or color pattern is not the only factor for colors. Now, we did have a couple of questions about this, and I'm pretty much answering it right now. So I'm going to use the example of that pharaoh again, right? The pharaoh that had the weird pattern on the chest. It was a male, but kind of tricky. Again, I wouldn't use it in the breeding program because I'm not just looking for weight and I'm not just looking for egg size. I'm looking for all kinds of stuff. So my example before we started all this was the growl fees. Well, I started working on the growl fees. I started putting growl fees with growl fees. They started breeding much more true. Then I put very, very dark Tibetan males with them. I started getting a very, very dark, pretty much black quail. That's how you do it, right? So hopefully that helps somebody. However, I didn't see the point. I just didn't. I know a lot of people are interested in black quail, but I just don't see the point. Tibetans are pretty black. I just don't see the point in having an almost black quail and then a black quail. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So I thought, you know, I really like this dark color, but how cool would it be if it was like feathered, you know, patterned, but still very dark? All right, well, let's see what we can do. So now I'm working on this pattern. Well, for those of you, and I'm sure that a few of you are on here that have hatched out growl fees from me. They're absolutely fantastic. I mean, they are beautiful, beautiful quail, because I'm not just looking for the next thing or what I can sell. I'm looking for what makes sense, how it would, what I would be interested in, right? So if somebody wants to do a black quail and have all the business, then that's fine. I'm not here to take all the business. I want to do things that I think are important. I want to do things that I think are interesting and unique. So that's why I did that. But I'm not just looking at, so how do I say that? Okay. When you start a breeding program, you need steps. Okay? So with that being said, the first step would be to get a full cage of that one color. It might take you a couple generations. Now let's say that some of them are okay, some of them are good, and some of them are great. All right, now the goal is to replace the goods and the okays with grates. Now you have a full cage of grates, right, of the color. Now you're looking at it and you're going, okay, now I want to work on size, but I want to keep this color. Okay, so now you work on size, only the biggest. Well, let's say your first hatch averages 7 ounces at full maturity. Okay, nothing below 7. So the next hatch, you hatch out and you go, okay, nothing below 7 ounces. Well, now your average is 7.4. Great, nothing below 7.4. And the tricky part is even if you find the perfect color, the perfect pattern, the perfect everything, if it does not match where you are at on your goals, on your tracking, then do not use it. It is very difficult to do that. But that's why goals are important. And you need to be specific on where you want to go, but you also need to be broad and you need to be open-minded, okay? The fourth would be able and willing to adapt, which we kind of just went into. So make sure that you're not going to find, let's say you want a 16-ounce jumbo. I don't recommend it, but let's just say you want a 16-ounce average jumbo every time. You can do it. You can do it. Not a big deal, right? I don't recommend it because I don't think they're healthy. But let's say you want to do it, okay? All right. You're not going to do it in the first generation. You're not going to do it in the second generation. It's going to take time. So you have to be able and willing to adapt. With that being said, what I wrote down was don't be closed-minded, be willing to be able to change course, try new things, ask questions. Yes, learn from others, but also pave your own path. If it does not fit within your tip 1, which was goals, then it does not get into your breeding program. Now, what I mean by that is, for example, the growl fees. The growl fee did not start off with this amazing color that I'm going to, move around and change and do this fun stuff with. That was not the goal. The goal was, okay, this hatched out, now I want 10 of them. Okay, now I have 10. My next step. So baby steps is what I'm trying to say. You're not going to do anything in one generation. A lot of people ask, well, if I put my jumbos with my golds, will I increase size? Yeah, but you're talking generations. And then you have to breed it back to being true. I mean, you're talking years of work for a true jumbo. Years. It's not as simple as it sounds. So you've got to take baby steps to get there. Dave Ramsey, which I listen to a lot, I love what he says. He's the person that says, on purpose, on paper, right? And so on and so forth. I adapt a lot of what he says to business, to life, to finances, to all this stuff. But baby steps are the way to do it. So if you know about him, he's saying, okay, well, to get out of debt, you list your debts highest to lowest, and you start with your lowest and work your way up. Well, a lot of mathematicians, a lot of accountants say, no, you work with the highest interest rate first and get that paid off, which makes sense logically. But emotionally and time-wise, you need wins along the way. So make yourself write down goals. Then make yourself write everything down, the whole process, hatch rate, all that stuff we already talked about. Once that's done, then say, okay, so what's realistic? Well, right now I have a 9.5 ounce jumbo. Well, I want to get to 14. That's a long way off in one generation. I'm not going to do it. But how about I use nothing? My average is 9.5, which probably means I've got a 9 in there, right? Okay, well, my next generation, I use nothing below 9.5, nothing. So you use all 9.5 or above. Okay. Now I have 9.5, nothing below it. I'm averaging a 9.7. Great. You know what? This next generation, I'm not going to use anything below a 9.7. Well, now you're averaging a 9.9, nothing below a 9.7. It takes time. You cannot get there overnight. So that goes into patience is a virtue, number 5. What I wrote down is, it takes time to develop, breed, and see results. Genetics and feed are 2 major factors, but do not forget the little stuff. This I hope is going to help some people. Genetics are very, very important. Feed is very, very important. But it is not 50% genetics, 50% feed, and you've got perfection. That is not how that works. If you need numbers, I would say, I don't know, 40% genetics. No, I would say 60% genetics, 20% feed, 20% all the little things. So keep this in mind. Safety is a big one. They need to feel secure and safe. They need to make sure they're out of the elements. They need to make sure that nothing's going to get to them. Lighting, it doesn't necessarily have to be full spectrum. It can be daylight. It can be whatever you want to use, but they need 15 to 18 hours of light a day. Ventilation is huge. If you raise quail, you know that they can stink a place up pretty quickly. Their poop, their droppings are very acidic, and it gets real stinky real fast. Now, when you walk in and you go, whew, it's time to clean this out, think about their little lungs, right? So ventilation. There's many, many different factors. Those are just 3 examples, but it takes everything. Look at everything as a whole. And it's the little things. And remember, patience is a virtue. You're not going to get anywhere right away. Now, use what other people have done before you. Take advice from those that have learned the hard way already. But again, do your own thing. So what I mean by that is here's a good way to say it. Take the easy road when you can and when you know that it's right to. What I mean by that is, let's say you want sex links. Well, I already produce sex links. Why do you want to create your own? Just buy mine, right? I mean, that just makes sense. Yes, that is the easy way. I get it. You want to do it on your own, absolutely. But you got to remember, you got to replace your hens once a year for a breeding program. You got to replace your males once every 6 months, twice a year. Well, then what you want to do is you want to get the sex links, get those started. Not a big deal. That was the easy part. The hard part is you need 2 more cages. What you need to do is you need to get some pharaohs and you need to get some Egyptians. You need to breed them at the same time as the sex links. And then you breed those out so that you have a new generation completely unknown to the other generation, to the other ones that you already have, when it's time. So for example, the sex links, you need pharaoh hens and Egyptian males. That will produce sex links. However, they hatch out complete opposite. They hatch out Egyptian hens and pharaoh males, which means you cannot reproduce sex links after that generation. You can hatch those out and then breed them together, and then you'll get some Egyptian males and some pharaoh hens, and then you can start another generation or another breeding group. However, now you're starting to inbreed quite a bit, which is why you should have 3 separate cages. So you got to think outside the box. Take the wins when you can. However, you're going to have to put the work in. Now, bonuses. Proof is more than once. So just because let's say you're working on jumbo golds. Everybody's in love with jumbo golds. Let's say you breed jumbos with golds, wilds with golds, and you get 7 out of 20 that hatch all golds. You weigh them and you get 5 out of the 7 that are 12 ounces. That is great. But you do not have a jumbo line. You need to reproduce that at least 2 more times to be able to say that it's a jumbo line. So science doesn't change. Do it again, and then once you did it, do it again. If you're getting the same results, you are good to go. You did your job. But if you have one hatch out and say that's what you got, you're doing yourself a disservice, because again, this is a long-term game, not a short-term. Okay? Bonus, diversity is a 2-edged sword. Somebody talked about earlier that they want as much diversity as possible. Well, that is great, but it's a 2-edged sword, so keep that in mind. The reason I say that is how do I want to say it? breeding programs and genetics differ from place to place. Now, am I saying that we are the absolute best? No. Do I think we are? I hope so. I work my butt off for it, right? However, you could do more harm than good by thinking that you're going to diversify your flock. So if you order jumbos from us and order jumbos from Joe Blow down the street that doesn't have a breeding program and just throws a bunch of birds into cages and doesn't really weigh, and you go, well, I'm going to put them together. Well, you could lose a lot of my genetics by doing that. Now, I'm not saying that there's not other breeders out there that have great genetics and great breeding program. I am not. There are plenty. I'm not saying that. Don't take me the wrong way. What I'm saying is sometimes you can do more harm than good. So keep that in mind. I am not trying to tell you how to do a breeding program. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you all kinds of questions for you to answer so that you know what you're doing. Last bonus is space for small and large, which we've kind of already discussed. But again, I don't recommend you having a breeding program with just one cage. Here's one thing I don't think I've ever said. Yes, Joe Blow is related to Joe Mama. You don't want just 2 colony cages. Colony cages are very large cages. We use a ton of colony cages for our breeders, right? However, when I'm researching, when I'm having a breeding program, I've got Wynola Ranch cages, right? Wynola Ranch cages everywhere. They're much smaller, they're compact. I can fit a breeding program in there. I don't have to use a whole colony cage. So remember, you need more than just 1 or 2 cages to have a breeding program, but you also need different sizes. So size, we think size is really cool and, you know, very cost effective and very beneficial and saves time on feed and water and all that stuff. And it does. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. However, for a breeding program, you cannot. Back in the day when I started, everybody said that they had a breeding program, and their breeding program ended up being a bunch of different colors in the same cage and just see what hatches. Well, that's not too bad if you don't know what you want to do and you want to experiment. Yeah, put a bunch of stuff together, see what hatches, find something cool, and work with that. Not a problem at all. But that's not a research, that's not a breeding program, that's just a mixed cage, right? Research is something on purpose, on paper, with goals, specific but broad, and everything like that, right? So with that being said, you need small cages as much as you need large cages. Now, long term, you're going to need more large cages. We have a ton of more colony cages than we do, small cages. But without those small cages, there is no research, there is no breeding program, right? We have breeders in our colony cages, but our breeding program starts in a very small spot. 1 male, 2 hens, 1 male, 1 hen, 1 male, 3 hens, and then we start working on it. We do not have a full colony cage and just hope for the best. On purpose, on paper. So, I wasted enough of your time. I hope that gives you a lot of stuff to think about at least. Again, I'm going to recap. The top 5 tips and tricks are goals, on paper, on purpose, be specific but broad, be able and willing to adapt. Patience is a virtue, and the bonuses was proof is more than 1 generation. Diversity is a 2-edged sword, and space for small and large is a necessity. I hope that helps a lot. With that being said, I did see quite a bit of comments, so I'm not too far behind. Good morning in India. Welcome. Thank you, India, for showing up. Lee Family Homegrown. I am answering your questions now, so if you have any questions about any of that, please let me know. That is a lot of information. Before I begin, I am going to do a full playlist on all of this. So if you want to go back and listen to this again, then that's fine. I am going to do a playlist just like I am on All About the Colors. We're going to go step by step, but I want to give everybody that is loyal to me and loyal to this YouTube channel, loyal to the live Q&A, to have first go at it. Ask any of your questions, and hopefully I'll be able to do better videos when I do the playlist. Not talking to me, not talking to me. Evan Wirtz said, how far can I breed down? I still have my original birds. Do I need to get more genetics? I recommend using 3 generations and then getting something else going. Now, that does not necessarily mean that you get, that doesn't necessarily mean that you buy from me. But with that being said, absolutely. Thank you. Carrie, I appreciate it because you just reminded me. We are doing a completely different format. Now, I will have my whiteboard back next week with, the topic and my phone number and the website and, winners of any contest or anything like that. We will get back to that next week. I did not want to do it this week because I wanted to give you the information, but again, whiteboard. I am going to be doing a playlist on all of this, and I wanted my views to be high, so I didn't want to give everything away right away. So, but if you like this new format as far as my topics and doing it all at one time, please let me know. If you like the old format or any suggestions, please let me know. But with that being said, how far can I breed down? I recommend 3 generations. That doesn't necessarily mean that you need new blood. So, for example, okay, so Marie ordered 60 jumbos and 30 pearls. That's a bad example. I'm not going to use that example. Let's say you order, okay, let's say you order 60 jumbo wilds and 60 jumbo whites, right? Okay, let's say you have a great hatch rate. They're hatching out like crazy. You've got your jumbo wilds over here, you got your jumbo whites over here. Let's say it's 9 months into your breeding program. What you want to do, if you don't want to buy new blood, take those jumbo whites, hatch them out. Take the jumbo wilds, hatch them out, flip them. Use your jumbo white males with your Pharaoh hens, or use your Pharaoh males with your jumbo white hens, right? Just for 1 generation. Get a different blood in there. That's all you need, just a little bit of blood. Now, breed brother to sister out of those. So the ones that hatch out Pharaoh, the ones that hatch out white, breed them together to get that jumbo back. But now you've got a little bit of different blood. The other option is just getting some new males, getting some new blood in there, or you can always buy some. There's many different options that you can do. Again, for a really, really intensive breeding program for a long term, you need a lot of cages and a lot of colors. So, I mean, we're talking hatching eggs that are only 50 cents. I would get new blood, but it depends on what you want to do. Very good question, though. I hope that answered it. If it didn't, please ask again. Chase says, Zach, do you know how to breed a black quail? You would use, in my opinion, you would use growl fee hens with very dark Tibetan males, and you'll get black quail. I mean, I've done it, so that's not just my opinion, that's a fact. New Caros says, same question, I know you're not a fan of black quail, but what genetics do they come from? There you go. Chase says, what I meant to say is, what 2-color quail would I need to get a black? I'm pretty sure Chase and New Caros, I answered that, but if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Phyllis says, Dr. Pepper, not to act like a jerk also. There you go. See, you're on the same page. David Gilmore says, for what it's worth, I think getting an hour of your time each week on Sunday evening is wonderful and fair to us and your family. Thank you very much. I'd recommend cutting off the call at 60 minutes and spend the rest of the evening with your family. Thank you for all you do. Not a problem. I'm glad to help. Shane says, need help. I am losing a lot of eggs. Due to no shell or soft shell, some just touch them and they cave in. Feeding meat bird feed and putting bowls of calcium in the cages. Well, that's your problem. Stop feeding them meat feed. You really don't want to do that. You really want a layer feed. A lot of people, an enormous amount of people think that high protein is healthy. It's not. High protein is important and beneficial for the first 10 weeks. After that, you really don't want to do that. It hinders them, case in point. You want a 15 to 18% protein with a 3.5% calcium and a 1.5% fiber. Now, this is what we use. We have none. We have no shellless eggs. None. No, we don't. We have no issues with it. So that's my experience. On top of all that, I've talked to some very well-educated, very smart people, and they agree 1,000,000,000%. I've talked to people from universities, PhD doctors, people that specialize in game birds and chickens. I've talked to people that specialize in feed and nutrients, and they all say the same thing. So I would not do that. I don't recommend it. You can do what you want. Mad Farm says, hey, Zach, 38 out of 60 jumbo brown hatch, 76%. One was slightly deformed and perished, ready for 100 more. Jumbo Wilds will be back on the website tonight, as well as Jumbo White Wings and Jumbo Egyptians and all kinds of stuff, so check that out. I am writing that down. I am going to put 38 out of 50 because that's what you would have ordered, but congratulations. Trump 2020 and Beyond Dixie and Alfred says hello from the Happy Camper Compound from Harmony, Maine. I like a Moxie soda here. Shane says, yes, we grind it. You guys are talking about feed. Our first 18 eggs in the incubator right now. That's great. Best of luck. A lot of you guys are not talking to me. Kyle P says, do you breed with the recessive whites? I think one hatched out of the feather sexable mix I got from Myshire Yellowhead with spot and complete snow white everywhere else. It sounds like it would have been a snowy. Yellowhead with spot. Yeah, that would have been a snowy. Possibly a pearl, but most likely a snowy, which is also feather sexable. And yeah, we do a bunch of different things here. I don't want to inbreed. I want you guys... Oh, I got it. Oh, I didn't. Crap. It's got to get tired eventually. My main focus is not having things hatch out 100% true. My main focus is for you to have long-lasting, healthy, happy quail with great results. That is my goal. So I am not trying to breed anything 100% true because I don't think that's the right call, because you've got to inbreed quite a bit to breed 100% true. So keep that in mind. But yeah, Snow White, it sounds like out of the feather sexable you probably hatched out a Snowy. So that's great, congratulations. YRB says, when you say don't breed brother and sister, are you saying cage mates or genetic relation? If all eggs from you, what is risk of brother-sister relationship? I don't know the exact percentage. I would say maybe 20%. Maybe 20%. Wouldn't worry about it too much. We do quite a bit of stuff, so it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And I mean genetics. Alan Malone says, is it too late to start writing everything down if we have already started breeding? Nope. It's better to start than... It's never too late to start. I don't know what happened there. Erie Quail Farm says, question, do you use Excel spreadsheets to keep track of your breeding program, or is it all pen and paper? I do both, because I have trust issues with electronics, and I'm not good at them. I'm trying to find out. Erie Quail Farm says, question, can you give an example of a custom hatch order? people, well, custom hatch order. Yeah, they have to be farm pickup, and it has to be over 500 chicks ordered. I guess that's an example. Custom hatch, we've got a 2,000 in, we've got a 1,050 in, we've got a 2,000 in, I've got 2,000 in for us, and I think there's another 1,200 in, and then I've got 2 more 1,500s that I got to put in. We do quite a bit of custom hatches. Angel says hello from New Jersey. The eggs arrived perfect as always. Thanks. That's great. Congratulations. I know that you separate males and females at 3 weeks old. At what age do you put them back together to breed? Depends on which kind, but I would say anywhere from 8 to 10 weeks. If they are jumbos or you're breeding for weight, I would not put them back together until they're 10 weeks old. If it's color and pattern that is more important, I usually put them together at 8 weeks. Ron says, how about breeding true on Pharaoh and Egyptian? Yes, then you do need to inbreed to a point. For example, about every, well, I have a specific number, and then when that happens, I put different males in there with them for one generation so that there's no issues. Again, my goal is not to have the largest quail or breeding true. My biggest concern is that you have a great hatch rate, you have great layers, you have long-lasting quail, and there's no chance of you inbreeding anytime soon. Bill Atkins says the tortoise always wins the race. Absolutely. Erie Quail Farm says, have you had better success with corporate accounts as a hatchery or an egg producer? Egg producer would be my answer. Erie Quail Farm says you've previously said that you don't do it any longer, but what are the drawbacks of providing butchered birds for consumption? Time. It's just a lot of time, and I don't have the time. And because of where we're at and the corporate accounts that we have for falconries, I don't have to anymore. But I mean, we did it for years and years and years because we had to. Enjoy your evening, people from Harmony, Maine. Welcome. Thanks so much. Thank you. Very informative. Thank you. Appreciate it all. Not talking to me. Well, a lot to consider. Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Good stuff. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Thank you. I like this new format. Wonderful. Yes. Very informative, Zach. I hope I can create my own sex link soon. Yeah, you need Pharaoh hens that breed true. You need Egyptian males that breed true. Put them together, and you have sex links. Patrick Fold says, when you do your breeding program started 1 roux, 3 hens, at what point do you add new blood to not inbreed? I do not worry about inbreeding during the research process. Once I got what I want, then I start breeding other stuff in. But yeah, if you're working on something and it takes 6 generations to get there, don't worry about inbreeding. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over. Once you got what you want, then you can get all the crap out of it. But you got to get where you want to go first. Very good question. Bear Falker says, good evening from California. Welcome. Don Cook says, question, when getting averages like egg size, do you weigh all eggs or a representative sample from your eggs? I realize your quail weights, you need to weigh everything. Great tips. Thanks so much. Very good question. So as far as weight goes, I do it right and I cheat at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. But for any jumbo or anything that I am focused on as far as egg size go, we weigh every egg. If it's jumbo wilds, I'm weighing 600 eggs. If it's whatever, I'm weighing them. If it's my new jumbo I'm working on, I'm weighing every egg. If I'm not really working on egg size at this time, if I'm working on color pattern, if I'm working on longevity, if I'm working on production, if I'm working on whatever, then no, I'll do an average. So if I have 50 layers, then I'll usually take 25 eggs. for 3 days straight, weigh them, and that's my average. But as far as what I'm actually focused on as far as egg size go, then no, I'm weighing everything, and I'm weighing it for 3 days. I have not mentioned that. I probably should. When you're doing egg production, when you're writing everything down and you want to weigh your egg sizes, don't do it all in one day. So for example, let's say you hatch out 50 jumbos and you're going to start keeping track. That's great. But when you weigh your eggs, you don't want to weigh it just one day and say this is my average. You want to do a 3-day at least. That's what I do. A 3-day average. If there's any discrepancy, so let's say my first day was 10 grams. My second day was 14 grams. My third day was 16 grams. Okay, there's something majorly wrong there. I'm starting all over. Now, let's say day 1 is 13 grams. Day 2 is 14 grams. Day 3 is 13.5 grams. Okay, I got my average. We're at 13.5. Easy peasy, right? But if you're off by a couple different grams in 3 different days, then you got to start all over. Or keep going and do a week long or something. I hope that helped as well. I should have said that. I'm going to write that down because that's average. It's really good advice, and I just take it for granted because I've been doing it for so long. Great question, Don. Teresa Kirksey says, hi from Trussville, Alabama. Is there a better breed color to start with? No, not really. I mean, I recommend Jumbo Wilds. I recommend the Feather Sexable mix. You get a bunch of different colors. They're all Feather Sexable, easy to start out with. The variety choice on the website is always a lot of fun because you just get a bunch of different stuff and you can kind of pick and choose what you like and what you want to work with. But no, they're all pretty similar. I would recommend checking out I'm new to quail and what I need to know playlist on our YouTube channel, Myshire Farm. I think the last video is the different types of quail. That might interest you. Also, I have a playlist all about the colors, and it goes in depth about each color and each jumbo that we have, and it breaks everything down for you that you might find interesting and helpful as well. I hope I can buy Pharaoh and Egyptian fertile eggs from you, Zach, so that I can start my own sexling chicks here in the Philippines. We're coming soon. New Caro says, what is the best controller and heating unit, in your opinion, to use for a homemade incubator, roughly 6 cubic feet in internal size? I'm not too sure. I recommend watching Katernik's Corner's how to build an incubator video, and I would use what he uses. Ron says, it is okay to breed brother and sister quail for sexlings. Yes, up to 3 times. Kiki says, just because you offer oyster shell does not mean the dummies will eat it. That is 100% accurate. Bill Atkins says, question for starting a meat and egg side business. What breed and what would you be starting? And what would be a starting amount of quail? Well, Jumbo Wilds, by far, hands down, that's what I would use for starting out with meat and egg production. I recommend having multiple jumbos, Jumbo Egyptians, Jumbo White Wings, Jumbo Whites, Jumbo Wilds. Variety is always good, but Jumbo Wilds is always what you want to start with meat and egg side business. As far as how many you want to start with, it depends on how comfortable you are, how familiar with it. I wouldn't go crazy, but maybe, I guess if it was me, if I have enough room and enough cages, whatever, I would probably start with 60 to 120 eggs. If that all goes well and you start getting comfortable with it, then I would probably do a 240 count. And that will help you get a much larger quail because you can be much stricter. So for example, if you order a 50 count jumbo, let's say the average is 13.5 ounces at full maturity, and your smallest is 12.5, and your largest is 14.5, right? Well, because you started with 60, or because you ordered 50, let's say 30 hatched, 15 are hens. Well, you've pretty much got to use every hen for egg production, right? Well, if you order the 480 count, well then, let's say 350 hatched, which I hope more than that hatch, but let's just say 350 hatch. I need easy numbers. Let's say 400 hatch. Well, 200 of them are going to be hens, 200 are going to be males. Well, you've got plenty of males to choose from, so you're largest. As far as the 200 hens go, you probably don't need 200 hens right away, so you can be more picky. So nothing below 13, nothing below 13 and a half or whatever. So the more you purchase, the pickier you can be as far as size goes. However, I wouldn't recommend ordering a 480 count if you've not had any experience and you don't have a lot of space and no cages or whatever. So it really depends on a personal basis. Hold on. Hey, I got it, everybody. I'm super excited. Shane says, is chicken layer feed okay? No one around here sells game bird layer feed. Yes, chicken layer is fine. Not that big of a deal. Make sure that it's a 15 to 18% protein. Make sure that it's a 3.5% calcium and a 1.5% fiber. I would definitely check out our videos on YouTube, Myshire Farm, about what we feed. In the videos, I show you the tag that has the ingredients and the percentages. You can take a screenshot of that to your feed store and say, I need as close to this as possible, is what I would do. Sandra B says, you got to get one of those electric zapper rackets. They work great. I bought one and my wife stole it for somewhere else. I could just buy another one, but I'm looking for Billy Bell. Do you order? Something got caught up. So Billy Bell, if you're still on, if you want to ask again, I'm sorry. Feathers and Green says, when you say 3 generations, do you mean 3 hatches from the same shipment of eggs? From the same shipment of eggs, yes. So you hatch those out. You can hatch those out 3 separate times again. You don't count what you hatch out from us the first time is not considered the first generation. Your first generation would be you hatching your own eggs for the first time. That's generation 2, or generation 1, I'm sorry. It's generation 1. When you hatch out your own eggs is first generation. Very good question. Squirting, yeah. Not talking to me. Not talking to me. Not talking to me, not talking to me, not talking to me. Houston is in the house. Valdez, welcome. Oh, dear God. Welcome. Patrick Fold says, do you have a weight cutoff for every color in Jumbo? And if so, what are they at what weeks? I do have weight cutoffs. Well, I do have weight cutoffs for everything. Everything varies. Again, slow and steady, baby steps on everything. So everything's a little bit different. All the colors are 8 weeks cutoff. The Jumbos are 10-week cutoffs. Jerry Alexander says, grandsons want to put golden roux with tuxedo hens. What should I tell them what to expect? Well, you'll get golds and tuxedos and whites and whatever color the tuxedo is, and probably pharaoh. A lot of stuff. Question, don't know if it's been asked, but what can you do to get your quail laying again during this time of year? I added light and they are on 14-hour timer, still nothing. Well, I recommend 16 to 18 hours of light a day, so I would boost that up. Also, it usually takes 2 to 3 weeks once you change something, so if you did not have that before, then it'll take them a while to do so. Make sure they have feed at all times. Make sure it's a good layer feed, which we have discussed already. Make sure they have water at all times, and I would throw some electrolytes in there. Billy Bell says, do I order Italian eggs or Manchurian eggs separate to get both? No, you would order gold eggs and you'll get both. We use gold Manchurian males over Italian hens, and then every 3 generations we switch and put something else with it. But no, we put gold Manchurian males with Italian hens because that gets best results. So you would get both. S. York says, my hens were laying, then the time change shut them down. I have now added artificial light. It's been a week and still no eggs. How long before? I just answered. I mean, I know you asked before I answered, but it takes 2 to 3 weeks once you change something. If you did not have the artificial light already, it's going to be a couple more weeks, so stay patient. Add some electrolytes to it, maybe give them a couple treats, maybe a dust bath or a sand bath. Make sure they have good feed and water at all times, and just be patient. Kiki says, not talking to me. Erie Quail Farm says, how do you single out a hen that lays undesirable eggs in a communal type cage with up to 15 to 18 hens? You move one a day into the research cages until you find the one. That's pretty much all you can do. What's Quail Farm enjoyed the change in format? Same, we can't hit the like button twice. Thanks for the dedication. Thank you very much. Dennis Workman says, when you mentioned earlier, collect eggs for 7 days to hatch. Any special way to store these until they go into the incubator? I'm not very picky. I put them on the counter. That's what I do. I just put them in the trays on the counter for 7 days. Amy Lynn Casper says, Ohio in the house. What kind of marker would you use to mark the eggs in the incubator to track the different kinds of quail hatching? When we do mark eggs, or when we have in the past, we use just a Sharpie. Chris Blond from the Caribbean, welcome. Ron says, thank you, Zach. See you next week. Absolutely. Alan Malone says, Zach, what is the issue with shipping to the UK? Is this purely the fact that COVID is restricting everything? Yes. Border control, getting people to sign off on things. A lot of vets are just slammed to do the proper paperwork. Carefulness, there's a lot of issues, a lot. Richard Carpenter says, hello from Orange Grove, Texas. Welcome. I need some eggs from you. Chris Bland, I should have an answer by Wednesday on when, maybe even next week. But it looks like the Caribbean is opening up shortly, which was your next question. What is the average size of quail for the sex-linked breeder? Well, I just put a new sex-linked cage together. The males averaged 9.5 ounces. The hens averaged 11 ounces. I do not have the numbers yet. I'm hatching those out now. That is part of the 2000. But I'm thinking either the next generation or maybe even now, because it's already been a couple generations, those sex links should start hatching out jumbos, which is pretty cool. Steve Black says, what is your death rate for breeders due to fighting? Fighting? I don't have any fighting. None. I'll say one. One a month isn't even right. One every... I don't have fighting issues, so none. I'm going to stick with none. Okay, that is all the questions, everybody. So, quick recap. Oh, nope, now there's questions coming in. So, quick recap, and then I'll answer the rest of the questions before we go. We had a pretty good hatch rate tonight on shipped eggs from everybody. Thank you very much. Sounds like next week is going to be huge on hatch rates. We did go over, oh dear God, around 8 o'clock tonight, so about an hour in. We went over the top 5 tips and tricks for a breeding program. Goals on paper on purpose. Be specific but broad. Be able and willing to adapt. Patience is a virtue. Remember the little things. Proof is more than once. Diversity is a two-edged sword. Space for small and large cages. And we had a couple more things come up that I cannot... Oh, average more than one day. So if you missed any of that, make sure you go back and watch that. I will be doing videos on that later on a playlist. Make sure you hit the like button and support our channel. I greatly appreciate it. I will be planning on doing some videos this week, and I'm hoping by next Sunday, no, 2 weeks from today, our playlist about the colors will be completely done, and I will be able to move on to something else. I will probably take a week or two off before I start a new playlist because it is very stressful for me. Caribbean, the Philippines, and somewhere else that I cannot remember. I should have information on when I can ship to you by this Wednesday. And remember, as soon as this video is over, I will be putting Jumbo Wilds, Jumbo White Wings, Jumbo Egyptians, and anything else that's out of stock on the website back on the website, except for live quail and Jumbo Whites, because I don't have any live quail available, and Jumbo Whites I am still working on. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate all the likes. Thank you very much. I did a live Q&A this past Tuesday on Coternic's Corner, their YouTube channel, so check that out. Terry and I answered a bunch of questions, a lot of rare questions as well. That was a lot of fun, so check that out. And I think that is all, I think. So I'll answer the rest of the questions, and I will let everybody get out of here. What rate of airflow for ventilation? Very good question, but enough where it doesn't stink. I mean, I would, as long as there's ventilation, then it's not that big of a deal. Just make sure there is ventilation. Junie says, which is the most red-colored bird you carry? Scarlets. Very good question. Feathers and Green says, I am new to quail. Your education is invaluable. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're learning and enjoying the process. Jay says, what type of scale do you use to weigh your quail? Just a normal scale. I bought it at Home Depot or Staples or something like that. Nothing fancy. Patrick Foltz says, how do you guys handle Bumblefoot? We don't. With the new cages, we don't have any Bumblefoot. And if I do find a Bumblefoot, then I don't spend the time on fixing it. I eliminate it. Sorry. Elena Tolan says, what size containment for 25 birds? I recommend 3 quail per square foot for jumbos and 3.5 quail per square foot for non-jumbos. So, for example, if you have 10 square feet, if it's a 5 by 5 area, 5 by 2 area would be 10 square feet, then that would be 10 square feet. 10 times 3.5 would be 35. So that's what I recommend. Carrie says, good night all. See you next week. Can't wait to share my hatch. That's great. Give best of luck. Can't wait to hear it. Vernon, hit the like button, Jay Joseph says. Absolutely. Thank you, Zach. I might be wrong, but the newest hatch looks like I have 14 hens out of 24. That's great. Congratulations. Ron says, thank you. Absolutely. Glad I could help. Like and share Myshire Farm YouTube channel, guys. Absolutely. Thanks. MH says, what up, Zach? Looks like it went very smooth tonight. I got on late. We'll have to rewatch. Cardinals won. Woohoo. Absolutely. Best of luck. Congratulations on the Cardinals. And yes, I would say this week went a lot smoother. I'm going to keep improving it, but I wanted to start again. I like, if things are not working out or they're just overwhelming, I typically like to just start at the bottom again and work myself up instead of trying to, oh, well, maybe if I just, well, no, let's just make it as basic as possible and then I'll improve as the weeks go on. It's usually how I like to do things. Ron says, we support you. Thank you very much. Chris says, how fast eggs can be shipped to Florida? I have a mailing address there, then can ship them to me in the Caribbean. If that's what you want to do, I would recommend shipping overnight, which is an option on our website, which is myshirefarm.com. Patrick says, that's how I handle Bumblefoot when I find it, LOL. Alan says, thanks, Zach, and all the mods. I will give these eggs away 1 week. Absolutely. Usually we have 5, 6, 7 UK people, and the past couple weeks have just been none. I'm sorry. Living Life at Home says, Loving Life at Home says, oops. Oh, they were all deleted. Thank you, Zach, and the Happy Camper Camp Compound in Harmony, Maine. Thank you very much. Emily Clement Stevens says, jumbo eggs available soon. They are on tonight. Jumbo Wilds, Jumbo Egyptians, Jumbo White Wings, all that stuff will be on the website as soon as I finish up here. So give me about 20 minutes. Benjamin says, tell Trenton I said hi. I will. He better be getting ready for bed, but I will. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you for contributing. I hope that this helped. Stay safe, and I will see you all hopefully in a couple videos this week. But I will definitely see you next Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be doing a giveaway for a Wynola Ranch cage. we will be doing a giveaway for some eggs, so stay tuned for that. I might even post those earlier in the week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell for notifications, because I might just get early on it and announce it on Sunday. I have not decided, so stay tuned for that. Best of luck, and I'll see you next week. Thanks, everybody.